Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of News Dose, where I keep you up to date with all of the gaming news. And today was surprisingly a very busy day in the gaming world. We got a few release dates for some upcoming games that you may be anticipating. Also, one of those was just announced for the PlayStation 4 for the very first time, which is always a good thing for PlayStation fans. The Game of the Year nominees was announced as well and has some very interesting choices, and the Xbox Studio Rare had something very interesting to say, which at the very least has me excited. So we will discuss all that, but first let's talk about the Game of the Year nominees, because really that is a very big event in gaming, and it's been that way for a little while now. Not only is it exciting to just celebrate all of the great games that come out during the year, but a plethora of trailers and announcements usually do happen there, and that is already shaping up very well on its own. But yes, the nominees were just released. This ranges from Game of the Year to Audio of the Year, Indie of the Year, and so on and so forth. You kind of get the point. But I'm going to mainly focus on Game of the Year here, though I will drop a link in the description below so you can check out all of the different categories. Nonetheless, nominees are Control, developed by Remedy Entertainment, Death Stranding by Kojima Studios, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate by Nintendo, Resident Evil 2 by Capcom, Sekiro by From Software, and The Outer Worlds by none other than Obsidian Entertainment. So of course, as expected, there is a lot of good games here, but I am a little surprised by the inclusion of Death Stranding. Not because it's a bad game, because I have seen a lot of people really enjoy Death Stranding a lot. But the game itself is just so polarizing. I mean, there is a lot of people that just absolutely hates Death Stranding and says how boring it is and it's a little tedious, and really the reviews kind of reflect this in a lot of ways. I mean, even several of the glowingly positive reviews talks about it being a boring game. So I am a little surprised to see it in the hunt for Game of the Year here. However, some people are even calling foul play considering Jeff Keighley is involved and him and Kojima are very good friends. So much so he is even in the game, though I don't think that is the case, and there was other people voting as well, so the voters must have been on the side of the spectrum, the ones that just absolutely love Death Stranding. And hey, that's perfectly okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I have, however, seen a few other people question Smash Bros. Being here as well, because technically it released in 2018, but because it was a December release, it didn't actually have a chance to be nominated for Game of the Year. Nonetheless, there is a lot of great games to choose from on this list, and I can without a doubt say that Sekiro, Smash Bros., Outer Worlds, Resident Evil 2, and Control are great games that were pretty universally praised. And they're so great, I'm not even sure what I'm going to vote for. What about you though? What game will you be voting for, and are you okay with the nominees? Let me know in the comments below. In other news, Rare had something very interesting to say as Craig Duncan in an interview started talking about development at Rare, and he talked about how they had multiple teams. They have a team for Sea of Thieves, one for Everwilds, and a few other teams that work on both. Then they also have some people helping with Battletoads as Dlala Studios is developing it. But this is where it gets really interesting, as he later on said, and I quote, "I feel really proud we've achieved those things, but we now have a massive franchise which we can go and do more with. I feel really good about Rare's future. I'm incredibly excited about Everwild, and then there's more to come and more to talk about in the future." Now this alone kind of says a lot, as it comes off as they still have games to reveal, but because he also stated earlier in the interview that they have multiple teams, and some of those are working with Dlala Studios on Battletoads, it almost sounds like they may be outsourcing some of their older IP here, and may have one of those teams that isn't tied up with Everwild and Sea of Thieves help out. Now the question is, what could it possibly be? And I think we can immediately point to three different possibilities: Killer Instinct, Banjo-Kazooie, or Perfect Dark. In all honesty though, I think Killer Instinct is a no-brainer by this point, and I still consider Killer Instinct this generation to be the best fighting game. Killer Instinct is such a phenomenal game, and it was very successful, confirmed by Phil Spencer himself. So I think we will see KI return for Xbox Scarlet at some point, but I can also see another Banjo happening as well, definitely considering the Super Smash Bros. Release. I think the best option here would be to do a remake, which could easily be outsourced, and, well, Perfect Dark has been rumored for a while now too. The thing is, this statement could mean something entirely different. Maybe he's just saying they have more to show on Everwilds. It was just kind of the way it was worded. It sounds like they have more to announce, is what it came off sounding to me anyways. Now, one other thing that I do want to point out from this interview though was that Craig Duncan referred to Everwilds as a very special and unique game, and really he seemed to have explained it as a game unlike anything else on the market. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but it is something that I've noticed multiple Rare developers kind of allude to by this point, so it just has me more and more curious as to exactly what this game is. As we know, it is inspired by Breath of the Wild, but what more is there to this game? I'm very interested to hear exactly what this is. As for these Rare games that could possibly be outsourced, what would you like to see the most? KI, Banjo, Perfect Dark, or something completely else? And speaking of Xbox IP, one thing I wanted to mention yesterday and just kind of forgot about it, but Age of Empires did drop a bit of good news and said there will be no microtransactions for Age of Empires 4. Instead, they may be looking towards expansions and DLC. That is absolutely fantastic news and could alleviate anybody worrying about Age of Empires from this point forward. In other news, we got a few release dates, and I'll kind of go over these real quick. Detroit Become Human finally got a release date for PC. We already got a few of the Quantum Dream games earlier this year, so we were just kind of waiting for this one, but it will be available on December 12th. It's a very good game too if you like point-and-click adventure-like games, though it does have a lot of QuickTime events, and I know not everybody likes that type of thing. Another PC game that got announced, which was DJMax Respect for Steam. This actually released on the PlayStation 4 in 2018 with an 85 average score on Metacritic. It may be something to look out for at the very least. And lastly, the PlayStation 4 also got an announcement as Blair Witch is coming to PlayStation on December 3rd. Now, this game was a day one launch on Xbox Game Pass, and it's a pretty good horror game, so I'm happy more people get to enjoy this game. So yeah, that about does it on the releases and announcements, but hopefully there is something for you to enjoy here. Now, the last thing I want to talk about real quick is Google Stadia, because it may possibly have flopped, and Jason Schreier has dubbed it a monumental flop. The thing is, I don't really think that is all that surprising. I am sorry to hear it for those who invested in it so early on, but I think when we first heard about Google Stadia, it sounded really promising. But when we started hearing more and more about it, it just didn't sound all that great. And I think one of the reasons why that is Project xCloud from Microsoft just sounds much better. As an example, Google Stadia is very low on games available right now, but then Project xCloud has over 50 games available as of this moment, and the service isn't even out yet. Xbox is actually saying that all Xbox games can move over to xCloud with no extra work, so you can expect even more games to come. And then they're integrating it with the amazing Xbox Game Pass. It just kind of shows that Xbox has been in the game industry for a while now, and they kind of know what they're doing, whereas Google, they still have a lot to learn. One thing you do have to watch out for though with Google is, will they continue to support Stadia, and for how long? They said that they would continue to support it, but they have been known to bail out on projects relatively quick. Again though, I'm just sorry for those who invested into Stadia so early, and for those people, I do hope it improves and it starts to pick up from here. Anyways though, that's it for this video, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button. Peace out.